Hello, Borda. Good morning. I am absolutely thrilled that this is working because I had a few technical issues in Pilates. So thank you for joining me. If I do cut out, what I will do is almost discard this link, just go back into the YouTube channel and you shall find me going back online live, but it just won't be under the link I sent you. Hope you're feeling well. What a day, eh? Sunshine, blue sky. It's amazing how different a Monday morning feels, and it's like this, isn't it? So I am really looking forward to a session of Tai Chi movement for well-being with you. I thought of you all last night because I had an evening walk on Poppet Sands at the water's edge, and I just did the sequence and it was just magic. So join me, let's capture some of that magic. Let's see if we can really bring ourselves into this moment, find that sense of flow, that sense of relaxation, that sense of letting go of any sort of baggage that's dragging us down. So we can walk out of this room feeling lighter, more energized and more relaxed. So before we do anything else, I'm going to ask you to find a comfortable position to stand in. So remembering that foot position is really important. If I was to stand like this, it's almost like a weeble. It might wobble, but it might fall down. But again, if I'm standing like this all the time, it's quite an awkward position. It's not comfortable. If I need to walk anywhere, I've got to... So we want that position that is balanced, but also gives us that ability to move. So when you've played around with that foot position, really notice those feet on the floor. And then we're going to relax the shoulders. See if you can relax the back of this neck. Take your awareness into this spine. What we've done over the last couple of weeks is we've been taking the hands somewhere around that center area and really making that connection with your center. And we're going to make that connection with your spine. But if you prefer to let those arms hang, you do that. Make that connection with the spine. And just notice it. See if you can travel up that spine, almost through the shoulder blades, through the back of that neck, all the way to the top of the head. Notice any tension around the head and the neck. And then we're going to travel down that spine, down into that tailbone. Sit there for a moment and notice any tension around that tailbone. See if you can let that flow away. And then we're going to relax these arms bound by the side. And you're going to think about how you feel. How are you today? Tension. Maybe you feel great. Just notice all the way from the feet, from the toes, through the legs, through this pelvis, trunk, shoulders, down through the arms to the fingertips. Then back up the shoulders, through the back of the neck, to that head. Do we feel well? If you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, see if we can do the warm-up. If you're feeling ill, today is not your day. Turn me off, particularly if you've got a fever. But if you feel okay to continue, we're just going to gently soften those knees. So take the knees off lock. And rub these hands. Rub these palms together. Creating a little bit of friction between the palms, fingers, the thumb. And then we're going to allow that head to rest in those hands. Notice how you're feeling. This is all about you. And then we're going to do that again. You might occasionally hear some birds. Got my window open. If it gets too noisy, I'll shut it. And feel that sense of touch. Fingers on the forehead, thumbs on the cheekbone. Notice that breath out. And then one more time. Breathing out. And relaxing. Letting that head relax into that private space. Softening the neck, shoulders. And bringing those hands away. Bringing those hands into that self-massage. So we're going to lightly tap all around this head. You're going to think about where that body's taking you. Where does it want you to go? You're going to cover the whole head, but it'll lead you. Listen to it. It's always really interesting where it leads you to. So allow it to lead you. Allow yourself to let those fingers just go where the body tells you. And then relax those arms. So either with those fingertips or that light fist or that smoothing action, we're going to come to the neck. And I'm going to pay a little bit of attention to my neck, particularly my shoulders. It's where we have a lot of tension. So I'm going to just spend a bit of time on these shoulders. Relaxing that head, neck, just supporting this arm with the other arm. You don't have to. And then when I feel ready, I'm going to come down the outside of that arm. Down the forearm, to the hand, and then back up. Noticing, being aware of this body, and then allowing those arms to relax. Noticing again. What's the body telling you? Mine's telling me to do the other side. So again, that neck. You might notice that one side is tighter than the other. You've got more freedom to move on one side. You might not. Just notice what's going on. And every time that mind sweeps away, every time you start thinking about things that you think you should be doing, just let should slip away. Change it to could. Bring yourself back to this body. And then when we get here, let's cover the front of this body. Again, let's notice it. This is all about you today, how you're feeling. Is there anywhere that needs a little bit more attention? Chest maybe digestive system. And when you feel ready, round to the back, to the kidneys, back muscles is where I want it. Down the backs of these legs. Good. Focusing on the glutes, only going as far as you feel comfortable, then back up the middle. Good. And then maybe down the sides. I'm going to focus on these glutes a little bit before I start going down. Get really tight. And then down the sides of those legs. Good. Not forcing it. Bending those knees if you're worried about that lower back. And then finally, down the fronts of these thighs. And back up the middle. Good. And then standing nice and tall. Just shaking it out. Getting rid of any of that tension. There may be still a little bit left, but that's okay. We're going to let it go gradually, bit by bit. Let's find that position and allow those toes to spread. Allow those feet to relax. Allow that spine to be long neck to be soft, head to be soft. Just let those shoulders go. And bring these hands over that center area. And then as we expand our circle, we're going to soften those knees very gently. Just take them off lock, placing that tail down on the floor behind those heels. With that left hand, sinking down into that right leg, diagonal repatterning. It's that connection through the body, connecting that left side with the right. All coming back to that center, palms energized from your center. Breathing out. And then we're going to let these arms just go. And if we can, we're going to take that movement like we did diagonal repatterning, just taking the weight into this leg, and then that knees stay in line with that second toe. Head is relaxed, arms floppy, two dragons wrapping. Just let any tension that you might have had before this minute to be almost flung out of these arms. Good. And then as the legs stop, the arms take quite a while to settle. I'm going to straighten out those legs and then find that circle again as we take those knees off lock. It's as if we had that glow, that moon shape resting in the crook of those arms. And then lift that chest. We're going to open up this side of your body. We're going to come back. We're going to open up the right side of your body. So while we're doing this, there's no movement in this area. We're going to open up, lift that chest over that globe, open up the lower back, and then we're going to open up the chest. Not so much that we lose balance. So let's start opening up that left side, circling round and down, so we open up the lower back, opening up that right side of the body, and back, opening up the abdominals. So it's as if we had a compass and we're rolling around the outside of those points. We're at north, and then down to south. Good. See if we can relax the head, relax the neck. We're breathing out, breathing in, relaxing the shoulders. So letting this movement just come from your center rather than from the arms or the shoulder. Coming from your center, relax those shoulders. See if we can breathe out as we come forwards, as we open up that lower back. And then as we circle around to that north point, breathe in. Change direction. And all the while, there's no movement in those hips. That tail is resting on the floor behind those heels. Allowing that breathing to be your guide. Notice that breath in, gently that breath out. Notice those muscles between the ribs and the pelvis. Notice what they're doing. Relax that tailbone. Relax that pelvis. And then relax those arms. So we're going to soften those knees. Almost sink down into the floor. And then pushing down into the ground, we're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. So be aware of that mirroring concept or principle. If one shoulder is tighter than the other, allow that shoulder to lead. Flying like wild geese. Imagine me picking up your elbows. What a wide movement. And then just gradually letting them lower. It's that film of the bird in flight. Slow motion. This flow. And then circles. Heaven and earth. Again. Noticing that breath in. Pushing those feet down into the ground. Sinking back down. There's that softening of the knee. That straightening of the knee joint as we rise up. Looking after those joints. So if there's pain, making it very small. If we're seated, feeling those sitting bones on the chair, feeling those feet flat on the floor, that movement coming from the ground, through the body, up the spine, energizing the spine, getting energy from this ground, as if we were growing ourselves. Then open to the day from that center, that welcome. It's so easy on a day like today. The sun is streaming through the window. Sky feels limitless. We're going to breathe in and we're going to breathe out. What does this day hold for us? Who knows? And then sweeping down. We don't have to touch those knees, but the palms, one on top of the other, rising up. Breathing in. There's that expansion as we rise up. That opening. Almost widening our sense of the world from outside these four walls. This is such a wonderful move for where we are at now. Let's go beyond that ceiling, out into the world, breathing in. And then we're going to reverse this move. So still keeping those heels on the floor, those knees bend. We're breathing in, breathing out. Pushing through those legs, rising up. It's the body moving as one. As the legs reach that fullest point, arms reaching that fullest point, and then together Not forgetting that soft limit. This might be your limit. Find your circle. It's all about the circle. All coming back in to you. Just come back into that center. Think about that length of the spine. Think about softening that neck, softening that face, and expanding that circle. Gazing at the moon. We're going to use one hand over that left shoulder. And then we had the most amazing snow moon this week. Imagine that moon in the sky, glowing. Imagine it's just over that shoulder. You're walking away. We stop. We turn just to gaze upon it. You're just showing me how wonderful it is. We're going to breathe out and in. And then coming back into that center. We're going to take our natural step. So we're going to start with this left foot. As we turn that foot away from center. So it's only going from 12 on that clock face to 1, maybe 2 o'clock. We're going to almost turn those hips, sink down into that foot. So those hips are facing the same way, shoulders the same way as that toe. And then we're going to step out with the heel, okay, with that heel. Then gently bring the rest of that foot down. And then we can come back to facing forward. So again, let's take our awareness into that spine, the length, the neck. Think about that tail growing down just behind that first heel. And then from this center, let's create that circle. And then we're going to draw back. Draw back with that weight into that back foot. And then as we move the weight into that front foot, let's expand this circle. So notice where you might get unbalanced in this move. Are we trying too hard at this point? Are we trying too hard at this point? See if we can breathe out. Here am I. We don't need to try and be something we're not, because we're amazing as we are. So let's just be ourselves with this move. Let's not overreach. Let's not try too hard. Let's just be us and appreciate all the amazing things that make us an individual. And then come back. And then let's do the same on this side. So we're turning those hips, stepping out with this heel. So if we're seated, don't need to worry so much. Not that I want you to worry at all. Just notice where that tail is now. Notice those sitting bones. Take that left foot ever so slightly forward if we're sitting. So let's expand this circle. And then let's explore this movement where we feel good. Breathing out and in. There's flow. There's no beginning. There's no end. There's that connection from this center. And then just allow those palms to expand out, that tail to come down. And bring those palms together. Draw them apart. Notice the hands. Let the hands notice each other. And then bringing this left hand over the right. As if you were hugging that sense of something in. We're going to draw that left hand. Allow that right to follow. Waving hands like clouds. There's that sense of flow. That sense of continuation. No beginning, no end. Then we're going to bring it back to that center. So those palms have that connection. 5 elements. We're going to breathe in and out and in. There's that sinking down into the ground as we breathe out, that rising up. We're going to step outside these walls, the ceiling. Take ourselves outside. Take us somewhere we can see plants emerging, growing. Feel that sunshine. Notice that breeze, just gently ruffling the leaves on the tree. I'm going to take one more of these. Feel that sun on your face. Notice how it makes you feel. Breathing in. Let that breath out. And then just stand. Just let those elements flow through you. And we're going to come into that circle of well-being. So we're going to draw this circle around ourselves, this shimmering line of well-being. And we're going to think about maybe bending the knees if we need to protect that lower back. That tail is down. As we roll up, notice that weight transfer through that left foot, down into both feet, through the right foot, and the same above. Drawing that circle. You are right in the middle. This is your circle. Breathing in. Way through that right, then left foot. Let that tension go. And then as we come back up, bringing those hands down. And bringing you back to that center. Breathing in. As you breathe out, allow any tension in the face, the neck, the shoulders, just to be breathed out, almost pushed away. Breathe out that. One more. Standing for as long as you feel, or sitting for as long as you feel you need it. And then when you feel ready, listening to the crows, start to move those feet. You might want to just move those shoulders a little bit. Found that magical. Good morning, Agnes. I was thinking about you actually. I was wondering if you're doing this seated or standing. I keep meaning to ask you. But have a sip of water if you've got some. There was something I was going to talk to you and it's gone now. But have a think about when I asked you at the start, how are you feeling? I know I had quite a lot of tension here. Don't recognize it now. I'd had technical problems. But just see how you feel at the end of that first sequence. Just notice if there's anywhere that needs a little bit more tension release. There's so much, even though the weather's beautiful, but we are in a very, very tense situation at the moment. Things are getting better, but we tend to hold it here, here. So we're going to see if we can just allow it to go. So when you've had a comfort break, we're going to go into the second sequence. We're going to do it again. We're going to do 3 movements on each of the moves involved. So I'm going to have a sip of water and we'll okay. So we'll do ever such a slightly shorter warm up. But we're still going to take that time to lengthen through the spine. We're still going to take that time to see how we're feeling. Take your awareness. Really think about it. You spend a lot of time not thinking about what's really going on. So notice where there's still maybe a little bit of tension. Feel those feet connecting with that floor. Connect. Feel the sitting bones connecting with the chair. And then softening those knees. Just once, we're going to notice if these hands feel any different this time. Mine have been feeling warmer. And rest. How are you? How are you really? Breathing out. Coming into that self-massage. head. Then when you feel ready, bringing it to that neck. Doesn't matter which side you go for. Shoulder. And how hard or soft do you need it to be today? Now, have a play with it. You'll know if it feels wrong. Back up the inside of that arm. And then, same to the other side. Shoulder. Outside of the arm. Back up the inside of that arm. And then coming to the front of the body. Chest, digestive system. Round. That lower back. Back to the thighs. Might feel a little bit easier this time. Might not. Live in hope. Down the sides of those legs. And then finally down the front. Always back up the inside. Always back up the inside. Remember, shouldn't hurt. Just temper that touch to what you need today. And then we just shake those legs out, shake those feet out, maybe shake the arms out a little bit. Good. So again, feel that connection to the ground. This ground is what's going to give us our stability. Once we feel that connection, once we know we're balanced, once we know we're safe and secure, then we can relax. We can just let everything go. Let's take those knees off lock. Allow those arms to form that connection with your center. Breathing out. In as we come back to center, almost spiraling down into this left leg. Not being frightened to change that foot position if you think you need it. Breathing out through that arm. As we breathe in, that arm draws back to center. Weight transfer, right to left. So let's try that weight transfer. From right to left leg. And bring in those arms. Let those arms go. Let them become floppy. Let that head and neck relax. And then as the legs stop, see what happens. See what happens with those arms. Placing that tail down. Vital organ warm up. Opening up that left side. Rolling down to south. Over to west. To north. Let that head soften. Back of the neck soften. Face soften. Feel those feet connected with the floor. And let's think about changing direction. Breathing out. So notice that area between the ribs and the pelvis becomes smaller, and then it lengthens, it expands. And as we come down, notice that pressure on those internal organs, and then let them bounce, spring back into shape. So we have that long spine, feet almost growing down through the ground, deep. Bend those knees ever so slightly. Flying like Walkie. These elbows like a pair of bellows, drawing that air in, sucking it in, pushing it out. Heaven and earth, those circles, breathing in and out, softening that tailbone, lengthening that spine, and then opening. Breathing in, feeling that sense of connection when we open. Notice what happens when we close. That head relax, open. Clearing the sky, clearing those thoughts, those clouds that may have been hanging over your head. Let's move them away. Let's deal with them when we need to. And then reversing. Rowing this boat. Keeping those heels on the floor. Pushing those heels down, straightening through the legs. Finding your circle. Using that soft limit. And with that connection from the center, imagine that full moon resting in the forearm, the hands. Imagine just playing with it. But then with two hands, you're going to gaze at the moon. Let those toes soften, relax. There's no weight to it. We're guiding it, showing it where it needs to go. When it wants to move, showing it the right direction. So that natural step, turning out hips, shoulders, stepping out with that heel, slowly bringing that weight into that front foot. That tail is down. And breathe in. Here am I. And it's okay that we're not perfect at everything. Can't all be perfect at everything. We can be good enough. And that's fine. And then feeling those feet, bringing that left hand over the right, making sure your feet feel comfortable, transferring that way. Playing with that connection, palm to palm, palm to that center. So that as we cross that center, those palms face the center. Coming back to that center, that connection, expanding, allowing that tail to gently reach the floor. 5 element. Feel those feet, that connection with the ground. Imagine suddenly being outside these 4 walls, in the middle of a field. Grass is growing around us. Sun is shining. You can hear the birds. Feels like you're meant to be there. Breathe out. And then turning to that right side. Coming up into that left. That circle of well-being. Relaxing that tailbone. Relaxing that circle. Not trying too hard. Just drawing that line. So how are you going to nourish yourself today? What are you going to do for yourself? It's going to enhance that sense of well-being. Do something. Even something small. 5 minutes. Returning to center. One more. Drawing that breath in. Slowly pushing that breath. Standing somewhere where those shoulders are soft, wherever you feel comfortable. Spine is long. And then gently being aware of everything that's starting to kick in around you, sounds. Those feet move a little bit. And we come to the end of our sequence. I know we've got a few new people that dip in and out of this sequence. And it's very much designed for the outside world. And I know we can't suddenly stop in the middle of Tesco's and start doing the movements. But what you can always do, we did quite a bit today, and just feeling the feet on the floor, dropping that tail and breathing out. And it's amazing how just suddenly centering can change the dynamics of that moment. Anyway, thank you so much for joining you. Thank you for replying, Agnes. Brilliant, because I'm thinking about doing a bit more seated, but I might do a separate session as well. So, wonderful. Have a lovely day, everybody. And I mean, we can't, there's going to be something good today, isn't there? Even if we just sit on the doorstep. So enjoy and keep coming, because I love it when you join me. It makes my week. So, have a wonderful day.